This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, Gary, you're the first on my list. So, do you want to take a minute or two to introduce yourself to the rest of the group, what you do, services you can provide, what might be good clients or referrals to you would be?
Okay. I forgot to get dressed today. I haven't been getting dressed much lately. So you got me in a t-shirt, so sorry. I'm Gary Rosensteel. My firm is Nuco Pro, and I'm a business therapist. What that means is I work with the owners of businesses to help them understand and respond to the challenges that they're facing so that they can continue to grow their business and maintain a personal life. It's on my end, it's a combination of being a mentor, a coach, a strategic advisor, and somewhat of a therapist. That's it. That's my elevator pitch.
Excellent, thank you. Actually, before I forget, we do have at least one person on the phone. We have Phyllis Sell on the phone. So, Phyllis, so I don't forget about you because I can't see your pretty face on the computer. Can you please introduce yourself and same thing, tell people what you do and what a good client for you would be? Oh, Phyllis, are you on the phone? Wait a minute. Phyllis, you have to unmute yourself. I show you. Okay, Phyllis, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead and please introduce yourself.
Okay.
We can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry. I'm Phyllis Sell, and I am the Regional Sales Manager for Wholesale Payments. And Wholesale Payments is a payment and transaction processor serving businesses nationwide. Thank you, Sal, for inviting me. Sorry, I couldn't be on there. It just would not connect.
Oh, well, technology. These systems, by the way, are all getting overloaded. So sometimes they don't work as well as they normally work on a day-to-day basis. All right, Andrea, could you please introduce yourself to the group and what you do, who you can help, and what a good client would be for you? Oh, sorry, you have to unmute yourself. Do you see a little icon that looks like a microphone? You have to turn it green. Click on it and turn it green. Okay, don't worry. We'll come back to you. Barbara, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Barbara Klein. I am a dating and life coach. That's why I'm the love coach. The name of my business is The Best You Dating and Life Coaching. And I love helping people discover their unique gifts through open communication so they can experience growth and results. My ideal client would be a single person who is having difficulty in the online dating world or any dating world these days, and or is afraid to begin dating and needs coaching on that. So thank you, Sal, for having me. And again, Barbara Klein, Love Coach.
Excellent. Thank you, Barbara. And by the way, Joanne Forrester, the Empress of Biz, and I did an interview with Barbara just a couple days ago, and we also uploaded it to YouTube. So if any of you want to see that interview, it was very interesting, and we tried to relate some of the things that she does in terms of making your relationships better and make sure you have high quality relationships, and we tried to translate that into a business context. So anyway, if anybody's interested, that's in the YouTube channel also. Okay, Andrea, can you hear me and can we hear you? Oh, no, I'm sorry, we still can't hear you. Why don't you try logging out and logging back in? That might reset your system. All right, who do we have here? Jennifer, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Hello, Jennifer Lau, Jen Lau Agency. Currently I'm consulting to a couple political clients and consulting to domestic nonprofits with operations overseas. I do also take marketing clients and copywriting. So I'm also open to troubleshooting a variety of projects if anyone feels I have the skills, background, or education that could be of assistance.
Excellent. Let's see, who do we have here on the list? Oh, we have Luis from Spain. Luis, can you unmute yourself in Spain and introduce yourself to our group here in the United States, please?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sal. So this is Luis from Butler Scientifics. We are a tiny, small company which is devoted to intelligent data exploration, and our main focus would be research centers, which would want to do some data mining, which is a term most of you will be familiar with. So let's say we are a data mining company, only a bit more complex and a bit more sophisticated. Thank you, Sal.
Excellent, thank you. Let me see, I'm just going down the list, and our list changes a little bit as we go, but we're going in order. So Ray, I know obviously you're with Butler Scientifics. You want to introduce yourself as a follow-on to Luis?
In fact, Luis is my partner at Butler Scientifics. I am one of the co-founders and the CEO and also data science manager. So yeah, Luis has already explained it. What are we doing? We are helping biomedical researchers to discover things in their data sets and clinical trials, pharma studies, and so on. So this is what we are doing in the business. We have a small startup here, based here in Barcelona. We develop software and also provide analytic services for them.
Excellent. And William, do you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. I work with Andrea. Andrea's been having some technical difficulties, but we're from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in the United States, and we run, I right now have two companies, Partners in Payroll and Partners in Systems. And Partners in Payroll is basically geared for small business owners. We do their payroll processing for them and deliver concierge level service and communications for them. We launched last year Partners in Systems, and it's a systems implementation service done for you. We're focusing mainly on lodging and hospitality type industry operations, and this coronavirus has really hit that industry hard. So we're basically preparing right now and sharpening our knives and sharpening our pencils right now to roll out the best situation we can to help the restaurant and tavern and motels and hotels, mainly in our backyard at first, and we're going to just move out from there. Just kind of go in and work our markets and grow.
Okay, excellent. Let me see. I want to try this one more time. Andrea, can you unmute yourself, turn your little microphone icon green, and see if we can hear you? Oh, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I was unmuted before. Don't know why. So again, my name is Andrea Schisler. I have a master's in public health degree. So my expertise is really in public health systems, which translated over into business systems. I decided to kind of reinvent my career and launched into that new direction, thinking that public health was boring until a few months ago. Now it's not, but my background is in statistics and research, so it transferred well into the business sector. Working with Bill, the company we have is Partners in Systems. Our focus, our niche for our vertical is lodging and hospitality industry, which of course is being heavily hit right now. And we are positioning ourselves strategically so that we can be small business owners in that particular group. Ideally, although we could take on other clients too, but that's our focus area, to have systems in place. And basically what that translates to is having your business going from dysfunctional to functional, putting everything from general operating principles, strategic objectives, work instructions in place, and allowing the business owner to have freedom from their operations. And that's really our ideal niche. And so that's where we're focused.
Okay, excellent. All right, at least from my end, everybody is unmuted right now. So this is the part of the conversation where it's just a general business topics. So I guess before we maybe want to talk about, I see you, Barb. You get the first at bat. So before we talk about coronavirus, if people want to talk about that, because unfortunately, as a topic we can't avoid. If anybody, based on the introductions, heard anything that they would like to ask about or inquire or maybe make a business relationship, I'd like to do that first. So, Barb, I saw you raise your hand. That's the beauty of these virtual meetings. So you get the first at bat.
Hi. Okay, so Gary, I'm intrigued by what you do. Being that I'm a coach and I work mainly online, et cetera, I'd like to hear a little bit more about what you do I would just categorize you as a business coach.
That's part of what I do. I purposely go with the title business therapist, which was honestly given to me by one of my clients one day several years ago. We were about halfway through a session and she just stopped for a second, leaned back, and she said, "You know what? You're really a business therapist." And I heard the angels singing. I was like, "Oh my God, yes, that's what I wanted." So I completely rebranded, did a new website and everything around that, because it is a combination of things. Mentor, coach, strategic advisor, because I spent 20 plus years in the Fortune 100 world in Pittsburgh and in Los Angeles. Then I spent 20 plus years in the entrepreneurial world where I founded several companies, was a key executive in others, and I've worked in a wide variety of industries. So I will meet with my clients in person every other week for a couple hours, and hopefully off-site somewhere away from their office. And we just sit down and we talk and about what's going on in the business. And sometimes it might be things going on in their personal life or that are affecting that, which as much as you try, you cannot avoid that. There's a spillover into those. So I try to be aware of all that. If they have employees, I try to get to know to a certain extent who these employees are and everything, so that I can speak appropriately when things come up about Susie or something. I'll have some context and say, "Well, did you think about this?" So it's really wide open. I don't have any 13-point plans or notebooks I hand out to people. It is completely, absolutely custom tailored to every single person that I deal with, them, their personality, their business, their industry, and that's it.
What's your last name again?
I'm sorry, it says empty field. I must have missed something there.
Okay.
My last name is Rosensteel, ROSENSTEEL. And my company is NucoPro, which is NuCoPro.
And do you have a website? Is that the website address basically?
Yeah, NucoPro. You'll get to my website.
Okay.
Oh, that reminds me. Let me mention this real quick. At the risk of making the technology even more complicated, if you want to share information like websites, emails, phone numbers, things like that, if you put them in the little chat box and send them as a chat message, the system keeps a log of all the chat messages. And then when I send out the video of today's meeting, I can send out that chat log too, so that everybody has everybody's email addresses and telephones and websites, or whatever you want to share in the chat box. I'll send that back out to everybody.
Oh, there it
Okay.
is. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody have anything for anybody else based on the introductions?
Oh, yes, I have a question. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ray.
I have a question for Andrea. I have seen your profile in LinkedIn, Andrea, and I have seen you were working on data analytics or something related. So I would like to know a bit more about your experience in that field.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I started off, I have a bachelor's of science degree in psychology with a concentration on research and statistical analysis. And then I have a master's in public health degree. So when I came out of, I went to the University of Pittsburgh, which is a large research institution and a medical research institution. I worked on a research project. I was a senior data manager analyst, looking at the causes and correlates of crime and delinquency in the city of Pittsburgh. And went on from there to serve with the Pennsylvania Public Health Association. We did a lot of data analysis, data analytics, data mining. This was all when it was really evolving. We're talking early 2000s. I mean, the tools were just being developed and things were just starting to enter into that field. So it was an interesting time to pivot from sort of traditional based models where everything was, we just didn't have the robust tools that we have now. And so I oversaw a lot of that, a lot of conversions from, previous models into these new tools, because technology had finally evolved to allow us to do some of the robust modeling that we hadn't been able to do prior to that. And so that's really where I spent a lot of my time, and that's really my niche is always in the data mining and the analytics and looking at those type of things. So so it was a crossover from there into business, which I made pretty easily just because there's a lot of crossovers, and public health is a system. So business systems, they have a lot of parallels.
Finally, we have several common points, not just data, but also psychology, because we started at the neurosciences field. So it's not so common to find a person who has experience in data analytics and specifically in the field of psychology / neurosciences. So that's great.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I think there's a lot of people that aren't interested. I'm always interested in how you arrive at the destination. A lot of people just take like the census, for example. Most people don't realize this is the first year in the United States that we actually have a online census. We only just this census decided to go online. Thank goodness we went online. You can imagine if we had to still send people mailing in their forms and data entering these forms and things. So there's still a lot of gaps in technology, even with something as robust as just the U.S. Census. And so there's a lot of opportunities in that field.
And by the way, Ray, real quick, and I sent you an email. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, but here in Pittsburgh, once a week on Tuesdays, we have this thing called the Buyer Breakfast, which, when you were working on our project a long time ago, I think I told you about that, and Jenny went to a couple of those. But now with the coronavirus, they've moved it to online. It seems to me they moved it to online virtual with like a Zoom meeting, very similar to this. So I sent you that link because it might be good for you to join that. It's tomorrow in the morning, our time. It's probably, 6 hours later in the afternoon for you. But take advantage of the fact that they're doing it on Zoom virtual and join that. It might be a good thing for you. So, all right,
Okay.
Gary, do you want to say something or ask something?
Yeah, I would just, I was listening to what William Bill had been saying about his business, and I'd like to be able to connect with you offline because of something that I'm working on. It's a large-scale resort development and with a big indoor water park, a convention center, and a 600-room hotel. So sounds like something that you might be able to help me with.
Yeah, absolutely. We can certainly. I'll look you up. I wrote your number down or your website down, and I'll certainly reach out to you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been dealing last week, and in fact, even this week now, we've been dealing with this Paycheck Protection Program loan, and it's been a real handful for a lot of our clients. I don't know if you've been getting any calls with this, so it's pretty interesting.
Okay. And by the way, I know, Bill, that you wanted to set up also a separate meeting, and I mentioned it, funny enough, to Joanne Forrester, who's the person that we do the interviews together, and she wanted to join. I mentioned what you did, and she wanted to join because I think she has some software that she's developed that might be a good strategic fit for what you're trying to do and what you're trying to do. So anyway, long story short, if you want to email me, I'll I think we even agreed on a time for Thursday. So I'll email you that. And then maybe again the three of us can get together and she can join us because she was interested on talking to you and learning more about what you do based on the little introduction that I gave her after our phone conversation. So just so you know. Okay. Does anybody else have anything for anybody? All right. Any business conversation at all? I mean, we have a little bit of an interesting perspective. We've got people from Ohio, myself. I think Jen's out in West Virginia, Ray's all the way out in Spain. So anything at all? The last couple of minutes before we wrap this up.
Sal, this is Phyllis. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Phyllis.
Hi, Sal. I just wanted to let everybody know I wanted to share a couple of our programs that we have now with the coronavirus. We do the credit card processing with zero processing fees. So that's great because it adds a lot of revenue to the business. But we also represent Gift Hub. And what that is, it is the online gift giving. You can actually go through the text messaging and you can donate to charities, your churches, any of the 501c nonprofits. So we can set you up with a demo. We can do all that for you so you're still able to contribute to your church and your charities while the coronavirus is here. So I just wanted to let everybody know that we have cash discounts if anybody needs money for their business. We also have e-tab online ordering as well. We do a lot of that, just like the Grubhub and Slice. But the only thing with them, they charge like 30 and 40% to add that onto the bill, where we only charge 10%. So we have a lot of great programs. We have to survive in these times. So if anybody's interested in watching any of the demos, please get in touch with me and we can help you with some of these programs during the coronavirus.
And by the way, let me plug one thing that I know Phyllis and her company do, and I actually think it's a great idea. I don't know why they're still trying to get the word out. But I deal with a lot of small businesses, and I'm sure a lot of you know, when let's say you have an ice cream store and you pay with a credit card, the credit card company takes a transaction fee away from the store. So if you sell $10 in ice cream, you might actually get $9.50 in your bank account, and 50 cents goes to the credit card company. They have a program where that fee actually gets paid by the client that's using the credit card. So if you're a small mom and pop ice cream store and you sell $10, you actually get all the $10 in your bank account. And again, the fees paid by the user of the credit card. So be aware. I mean, it's not for everybody, but for people that can take advantage of that program, if I'm a small business owner, I'd certainly be looking at it, because those fees can add up to thousands of dollars a month and thousands of dollars a year. So, and now that everything's getting so tight, that might be a couple of extra $1,000 that you can put in your pocket. So just wanted to plug that for Phyllis.
Oh, thanks, Sal. Yeah, merchants are moving to the cash pricing model. It allows the merchant to be more competitive and add increased profit to their margin. So it's a great program. For a flat $45 a month, you can process as much as you want. It's an amazing program.
Phyllis, where are you located at?
Pardon me?
Where are you located at?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. Is
Payments
it allowed to do that, a cash price and a credit card price? Is that?
Absolutely. Legislation's been passed where it now allows the business owner to pass along the fees to the customer. It's been legal probably 4 or 5 years now. Yes.
Okay.
So
do you do any ACH processing for billing of clients?
Oh, of course. Yes, we do everything. The e-commerce, we do absolutely. We do all the integrations for POS systems. We actually have another really great program. We do business to business, level 2 and 3 programs, where it allows, if it's business to business, we actually can take a % off of the processing. Sometimes it's 0.5%, sometimes it's 1% for business to business as well. So we have a lot of great programs out there that can save the business owner a lot of money.
Okay.
The gift hub is really nice too, because it captures a lot of missed donor opportunities. You know, they can do silent auctions. It's cloud-based. It tracks all your donations. It actually gives you a year-end statement, a donation statement. So it's a great opportunity for the gift hub. So that's another great program we have as well. And you don't have to pay the processing fees on any of those either.
Okay. Let's do one last thing, and maybe we'll call it quits for today. Because I do this a lot when we have our live meetings. Can everybody say, because again, we're all working from home, we're all staying from home, a networking event that they think is good for others of us to attend, that obviously is virtual, similar to this, that you are aware of? So I don't know, Jen, are you aware of any other sort of virtual networking events that might be good for us to attend while we're still kind of homebound here?
The ones I have are private within my network. They're not public and they're not open to outsiders.
Okay, but you are doing virtual networking events.
Yes, I am doing virtual networking every couple days. Network After Work is open to everyone for a fee, so that is one that I can mention. There's also on Meetup with free and virtually free networking. It's free and virtually free networking. They are having some virtual events. It's a meetup group in Pittsburgh. So those are the only two I know of that are public, but I do have a strong network that I've been meeting with via video. Just trying to keep, I recommend everyone just trying to keep relationships going for when we come out of this.
Okay, excellent. Gary, are you aware of anything in what you're doing?
No, I don't have any networking events, but since you tapped me, I'm just going to say I'd also like to link up with Ray, because that development I talked about is Spanish theme. It's called OLOS, which, if you don't know, that's Spanish for waves because of the waterport. But the whole thing is supposed to be Spanish theme, which would be completely unique to this area. But I don't know anybody in Spain, except for now, I guess I know Ray. So it'd be great for me to be able to have a link over there that I could tap into and say, do you know anybody I could talk to about X, Y, or Z?
Yeah. Well, Ray, maybe you know some architects in Barcelona that could help on this thing, but
yeah, maybe, but I must confess, I'm not sure exactly how can we help you, Gary. what kind of connections would you like to have here? Or perhaps I have not understood well the topic or the question.
Well, the resort is it's gonna have a Spanish theme. Again, the name is Olas. Again, I don't know anybody in Spain, unfortunately. I have never been there. I have some conceptions which could well be very wrong. It'd be great to have somebody on the ground there that I could say, hey, we're thinking about this. Does that seem like it's, it fits into the Spanish theme? It would be authentic to Spain.
See, so I'm thinking
That's it.
like the architecture, the paint colors, the menus, the dress for the employees, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So,
the uniforms, I'm thinking the colors yellow and red. Does that would be appropriate?
okay, so
That's the kind.
I was talking about I was talking in general, or just about coronavirus and this specific situation. Because Sal, perhaps you
No,
can help me to translate, because I have lost a part of the conversation.
No,
I'm
listen,
sure.
Ray, don't worry. Here's what we're going to do. You and I are going to have talked about getting together ourselves. I'll explain it to you. Don't worry.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Sal can give it to you in a language that'll be much easier for you.
Yeah.
Gary,
Don't worry. I'll explain it to you. And if we have to do some video conferences between Gary and you, and I'll translate. So don't worry about anything.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Sal.
the question is, I'm not native English, so of my name and surname sounds pretty English. I am from Spain, so I am doing my best to speak well in English, and the worst for me is to understand you by these horrible microphones. So I'm sorry if I've missed anything from these conversations. Please excuse
There's
me in advance.
nothing you need to apologize for. I mean, I should apologize to you. I only know English, so you're definitely up.
That's true. That's true.
No. Listen, don't worry. And like I said, if I have to bring the three of us together and
Thanks,
play
Matt.
translator, I'll do that. But I understand what Gary's saying. And Ray, you and I again are scheduled to get together. I'll shoot you some emails maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow.
That would
So
be great for me.
work on it.
That
Don't
would
worry.
be great.
Okay, Barbara, I'm sorry. You wanted to say something.
It's okay. So I put it in the chat, but I belong to two women's groups. One is WSBA, which is Women's Small Business Association. They have multiple meetings and they are doing Zoom meetings. And the other one is called WIN, Women in Network. They also have multiple meetings and they are doing them on Zoom currently. So I put in my email address. If any of the women are interested, message me. I will be happy to share the information with you, and you can go for free, but I think eventually they do want you to pay after coming once or twice or whatever. I'm not really sure the details.
Okay, perfect. Bill and Andrea, any virtual networking meetings that you're aware of that might be good for the general population or people in business in general?
No, not really. We are studying the work the system process. We're certified as consultants with that. Workthesystem.com is a great tool for any business wanting to systematize their business. It's our methodology that we use. As far as an event, or they have a lot of podcasts, but nothing like this per se.
Okay. Oh, that reminds me, by the way, at least while we're all staying at home with the coronavirus, I'm trying to do this every other week. So we will do this again on April the 20th. Once we can start to go back out, I have my monthly meetings in Canonsburg, and I'm not sure how much interest we'll have for these virtual meetings, but I suspect, unfortunately, at least until April the 20th, we'll still be at home. So we'll have another one of these on April the 20th. All right. Any last? I'm gonna really close it down unless there's anything else anybody wants to say.
Well, actually, I'd like to make a comment on that. Frankly, Canonsburg is like 2 hours away from me. I really appreciate the online meetups. I find more value in the, because I don't have to travel, and it takes a day for me. It takes the whole day for me to just go out. So that's my 2 cents with that. But
No, absolutely. It's like if there is interest and there is demand to keep doing this. As a matter of fact, let me just one thing we tried to do, and quite honestly, it didn't work. Okay, so I'll be very honest. But one thing we tried to do at one point was to say, look, we'll have the physical meeting once a month because people like to have that physical meeting. But then 2 weeks offset, also once a month, we'll have a virtual meeting. And if you go to the link on YouTube, you'll see some of those meetings back from, I don't know, like August, September of last year. But to be honest with you, for whatever reason, there wasn't enough interest to really keep them going. Now, maybe now that everybody has had to learn to use Zoom and video conferencing no matter what, because there wasn't any other choice, maybe it'll be easier for people, and people will be more interested, and maybe we can keep them going that way. So I'm not saying we're absolutely going to shut down the virtual meetings once we can meet in person, but it will depend on the level of interest.
yeah,
Okay.
it's
Sounds
going to be
great.
interesting to see what happens with how the world acts after this. Do they go
Right.
back to the way things used to be, or is it going to change? Yeah, it's very, very interesting. I'm dealing with a lot of small businesses myself. I'm constantly asking myself, what's going to happen? I mean, here in Pennsylvania, we have Governor Wolf, which, like every other governor, has shut down non-essential businesses. You're not allowed to be in business. If you're in business, the state police will be called, and you will be warned. And then if you keep persisting, you'll be fined. And what's next? Probably jail time. I don't know. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to small business. I mean, the smallest of the small. What happens to these small businesses after this? I'm constantly reminded by this phrase that's in the market. If you invest in the stock market, called the dead cat bounce. And even a dead cat will bounce off the pavement a little bit. But what happens after Governor Wolf or whatever, President Trump, turns the key and says, okay, everyone's on, everything's back to normal? You're going to see a surge in the market. It's going to go up. But I'm predicting 2 to 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, it's going to go, and it's going to drop like no one has ever seen before.
And William, what are the factors, the variables of your predictive model? Talking in technical.
Because the smallest of the small, if you were struggling before this hit, you're done. You're never coming back. Number one. If you were on moderately sound ground, if you will, you'll be okay, but you just can't punch 2 or 3 months of income out of the formula and say everything's going to be okay. No, your landlord's still going to be wanting to get paid. The bills have to still be paid. The utilities, the loans, these all cash flow. Cash flow is king. And if you don't have income, the biggest part of cash flow for 2 to 3 months, and depending on how long this goes, there's no end in sight here. Depending on how long it goes, yeah, once everything goes back to normal, there will be a surge, but sooner or later the piper's going to have to be paid. And when that day comes, it probably will be in November, December of this year, depending on when this all ends. You're going to see catastrophic failure in the small business world. The smallest of the small, and even the bigger than the smaller than the small.
I reckon you are referring
I hope
especially
I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I have a feeling this is what happened. Andrea and I looked at something that I did way back in 2003, And I remembered, I wasn't quite sure when it was, but I was dealing with the lodging industry. I was trying to help them do reservation sales coaching, converting their conversion rates on their reservation sales calls. And I was working for a hotel here in the area, and I was giving it away for free. Couldn't give it away for free. And guess when that was? In 2003. It took almost 4 or 5 years before that market finally picked back up after 9/11 for it to really kind of come back. And so it's just, I've seen it. This is all so familiar. It's like I'm rewatching. This is like 9/11 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me. It's the same thing. But
Yeah.
this one, this is like 9/11 in slow motion. Okay, we're going to do this over 4 months now.
I personally think that this situation is putting your business model in test mode. It is testing how strong it is, because of course cash is the king, so everybody needs cash in the bank. Uh, how digital is your business? How digital are being your operations? We are just 3 persons working at Battle Scientifics, and we are having recurrent incomes because we established digital communications, digital businesses with our customers. But because we decided to do that from the beginning, from the first day, we decided to be absolutely independent from the logistics and all that physical stuffs that are moving around the world. So we preferred to bet for bits traveling from one computer to the other. It's easier for us. It's harder in some senses, but it's easier for many others. So yes, I strongly believe that this crisis will make many businesses crash. I know many of my colleagues that are really, really suffering of it, and it's a pity. They are now running fast for digitalization, trying to convert very quickly all their operations to the digital version. It's not so easy, you know. So what I expect is that this kind of businesses, those who survive, of course, will start thinking in digital as with a stronger, with a more valuable point of view. I don't know how to explain it. So they will bet for digitalizing more stronger than ever.
See, Ray, but you have to be careful because here's the problem, and I'll speak from the perspective of the United States. There are some entire industries, not even companies, entire industries
Yeah, no.
that you can't take digital. Okay, for example, everything that is food and restaurants, everything that's bars, everything that's transportation, cruise lines, airplanes, things like that, hospitality, the hotels, things like that. And if those industries as a group, I'm going to say even go to 50% capacity, those industries alone have enough of an impact, I think, on the entire US economy that they can drag it down into a recession. That's the problem. I mean, you can put technology around it, but at the end of the day, the person has to get on the plane or the person has to go into the restaurant.
Yeah, sure, Sal. But I was talking just about the small businesses, not the big industries. Of course, William was talking about the small businesses, how they will support, how they will face this challenge. Yeah, you're absolutely sure.
Yeah,
You're true.
I like your thought process, but I'm still trying to figure out how to digitize a hamburger.
Mhm.
Meaning, how do you electronically convert a restaurant into an electronic model? It doesn't work. We can systematize it and put, things in place and, all digitally, and that's our theme. But like Sal was
Well,
saying, boy, it's going to be tough for these small little delicatessens, restaurants.
William, William, there is people here who has bars, restaurants, and small bars for locals in the neighborhood that
Hmm.
are bringing the coffee to your home. So you ask by phone for a
Yeah,
coffee or for a dish, and they bring to your home because they are close to you. They are just in one corner, so they can bring you. So they are putting some kind of digitalization, at least the phone. Okay, just
hmm,
call me. I
sure.
will bring it to you. I will give you, let it in the door, and I will come back to my office, and then I will make the payment 15 days later, or by mobile. There are a lot
Right.
of ideas they can do, but of course there
Okay.
are business that are based on physical things are really in the trouble. Are really
Yeah.
in the trouble.
Well, and don't forget one thing, Ray, too, that because I've talked with a lot of people about this. If you look at, let's say, restaurants in particular and bars, okay, there is a difference between the restaurants and the bars in Europe versus the restaurants and the bars in the United States. And
Yeah,
the
sure.
difference is in Europe, they tend to be a lot more family businesses. Okay. And the employees are the kids or the grandkids or the whatever. Here in the United States, that type of restaurant, that type of bar on a volume basis has almost disappeared. Everything is big chains, whether it's Darden or McDonald's or this, that, the other thing. And now what happens is that bar or that restaurant needs to generate enough returns, not only for what would be the owner and his family to have a comfortable living, but for all the shareholders to be justified for the risk they're taking. And as a matter of fact, I can tell you, even before the coronavirus, here in Pittsburgh, I restaurants that I thought were fantastic were going out of business. And I remember having the conversation with other professionals, other business brokers, other people saying, what is going on in the restaurant industry? These people cannot survive. And you go there and the service is good, the food is good, the location is good, everything is good. You wouldn't have any indication that these guys were about to go under, and yet they go under. And I think is because the restaurant market, even before the coronavirus, was so absolutely hyper competitive. Then now you were in a hyper competitive on the edge, and now with the coronavirus, forget it. You're blown out of the water.
Yeah.
Well, Sal, with that being said, everybody's hurting, but we have an opportunity to put cash back into your bottom line. So just remember, you do not have to pay for credit card processing any longer. So that'll help a little bit to get for these small businesses to pay thousands of dollars every month just to process their credit cards. They no longer have to do that. So that'll be a big help.
Yeah, because by the way, the continuation of that, and maybe that's where what Phyllis just said helps. Sometimes, unfortunately, these guys don't even have the capital to put in the simplest of the digital systems. So
True.
maybe they go talk to Phyllis first to get, a couple $1,000s a month, and then they can turn around and put that money into, because here in the US, we have the equivalent of what you just said, Ray. I mean, we have these companies called like Grubhub, DoorDash, whatever. Now they're individual standalone companies, but what they do is you get on your mobile phone and you say, hey, I want a hamburger from such and such a place, and they go and they get it, they bring it to your house, and they handle the payment and everything electronically. So those platforms exist. It's just a question of the money to deploy all that technology. And of course, that intermediary that's doing the transportation here in the US is getting money from the buyer, is getting money from the seller, and they're getting money from both sides.
Yeah, so we have that program as well, and it's called eTab, and we only charge 10% with no credit card processing. So that makes a big, big difference.
Anyway, well, I'll tell you guys what, we're actually pushing the hour, and I intended this to be 30 to 40 minutes, which, whatever, I'm not complaining because it means we're having a good discussion. But I do want to shut this down so that people have other meetings. And I know in Spain it's almost 9 p.m.
Yeah.
But again, I will email out the video. I will email out the chat log. So if people want to continue these conversations, if Bill and Ray, if you want to continue the conversation, I'd be more than happy to set this up for the three of us. And Andrea, if you want to join, and Phyllis, whoever, this doesn't have to be the last meeting. We're having a general one on the 20th. So that's it. One very last question before we say goodbye for today. Anything, Andrea, Jennifer? No, you guys are good?
I would just say
Thanks for having us. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay. Thanks for having us. We appreciate all your efforts here bringing us together, Sal.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for attending.
Yeah,
All right.
So
I would echo that. Thank you very much.
thank you very much, Al, for your effort, for your invitation. It has been a pleasure to meet all you. I have connected to some of you by LinkedIn. For the rest, I cannot see their surnames, but I'm sure that Saul will share the distribution list. William, I'm not sure if there are several William Billows there in LinkedIn, so I'm not sure what is your profile, but I'm glad to keep connection with you. Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you all very much.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks,
I
Sal.
appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Thank you. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye-bye.